Hello, everybody, and welcome to a video version of Popcorn and Coffee, our movie podcast. I'm your host, Jesse, and always with me here is Jay. So, how are you?
What's up, everyone? How you
You
doing?
ready to dig into this?
I am, yes, very ready.
Listen, so
Because
we decided to make Matrix Resurrection our first YouTube official video review. And you've never seen Matrix.
nope, never seen a single film. I had absolutely zero background going into this,
So there's
so
there's three movies plus a animated series. I think it's a series. I never watched that, but there's definitely
okay,
and then this makes the fourth installment. Um, yeah, I guess let's just jump right into it.
yeah,
What did you let's talk some details first, I guess. Matrix Resurrection came out yesterday,
yesterday,
literally
yeah,
December 22nd. Stars Keanu Reeves, Carrie Ann Moss, Yahya Abdul Mateen II, a couple other people in there that I didn't expect, like Christina Ricci's in there, and then they bring back Jada Pinkett Smith, Neil Patrick Harris, obviously from the trailers, he's in there as well. Um, yeah, a lot of fun. It's a good cast. It's a good
yeah,
cast overall.
yeah.
Who standout character is probably Jessica Henwick from the Iron Fist series. Did you ever watch that?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
She was like
uh,
his love interest. She was the best part of that show
yeah.
by
I
far.
enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Was there two seasons of that or one?
I think there was two. I think there was two.
Two. I think I only watched the first season. I didn't watch the second one.
Oh,
It just was. It drug on. It was a drudge.
it was the worst of the four.
Oh, I beg to differ. Well, I don't. I can't. I
Really?
guess. I guess I can't say because I didn't finish Jessica Jones. So
I
I
think
watched.
Jessica Jones was better than this, but
Really? Okay.
this is such a departure. Iron Fist was such a departure from the comic books that it wasn't even funny. Like
Okay.
he was just a whiny little baby boy who didn't know martial arts, and his character is a martial artist. That first season of Jessica Jones is good though. It's actually good.
I may have to go back and rewatch it or watch it. I only watched like the first episode. So
By far, Daredevil and Punisher were the best standouts
yeah.
series. We're getting off topic. We're getting off
Yes.
topic.
Yes.
Um, Going into this movie, what kind of frame of reference did you have on what the Matrix was?
I knew it was like an alternate reality. I knew I did not. Okay. So alternate reality, and then I knew Keanu Reeves' character was in that alternate reality, and I assumed he was trying to get out of it.
Okay.
So that's about my reference. I knew about the two pills, that whole thing. And
That first
and
movie is really good. You should have already watched it
uh,
just in life.
Neo and Morpheus, those two names I knew. So that's
Okay, so the original story of the first movie was like, I'm paraphrasing, machines take over the world and enslave all the people. And so you seen in this movie, they put him in like sleep pods,
okay.
that thing that he was in, all hooked up. The
Yeah.
machines put them in that, and then are just sucking all the life force out of them essentially. But they keep him
Okay.
for their entire lifespan, twice as long as a human can live, because they're just in like this fetal state. So all those tubes are like pumping nutrients into their body and then pumping energy out of their body to supply the machines. That's what it
So
was.
so they're using them as like batteries.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Every
Okay.
person in the world. The Matrix is what the machines created to stimulate the mind of humans. So
Okay.
it's a computer world that all human beings' minds live in and think is real, but it isn't real. And then there's people like Morpheus and Neo who become aware, and that's where the blue pill and the red pill come into play, become aware that they are in the Matrix, a fabricated world, and realize, kind of like a video game, they can manipulate it, they can control it. He's destined, there's like a prophecy amongst people. So once they come unplugged, they're fighting the machines, and he becomes kind of the savior. There's a prophecy that one hacker essentially will be able to destroy the Matrix and free everyone. That's kind of what he becomes.
Okay. All right.
That first movie is groundbreaking. It's a groundbreaking movie for what it did and when it came out, and affected film forever. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was that movie. It was one of those movies. Does that add any context to this movie?
That sounds like a better movie
It's
than what I
definitely a better
watched.
movie. Now, the blue pill and the red pill, and this is kind of the point. It's like they're not actually taking pills in the movie. It's all in their minds. It's a choice. They're
Right.
making a choice, and this movie did better at kind of elaborating on that, almost to a fault. But
Hmm.
that's the point of the blue pill and the red pill. You take the red pill, you're choosing, your mind is choosing to break away from what the matrix believes. You
Yeah.
take the blue pill, you're just choosing to, that's your life. You're willing to live that.
Yeah. So, okay. So my question is then, so Neil Patrick Harris's character, is he an actual person or was he a robot then who's trying to keep them in the matrix?
He's essentially a robot computer program who's just,
Okay.
and that's just his matrix form.
Okay. Yeah. See, okay. Honest time. I hated this movie.
Wow.
Boring. Did not like it. And it could be because the context. I didn't have any context going into it, and I felt like the movie as a whole was slow. It didn't explain anything, which I guess if I had seen the other ones, I would know. That makes sense.
Yes.
And I just didn't care for the graphics either. Like the special effects, I didn't think were that great.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty cheap.
And this is what's funny. Oh, my chair. This is what's funny is that I didn't like this movie either. I also thought it was slow. I also thought it drug and drug and drug, and there was barely any character development. It didn't expound, and it begs the question: was this movie made for you, someone who's never seen The Matrix before, or me, someone who loves the other Matrix movies? Who was this movie made for? When Lana Wachowski made this movie, what were they trying to say?
Mhm.
Right?
I think personally, I think it was just a money grab.
100% a money grab, but I think it was more directed towards people who are fans of the other movies because it built quite a bit on stuff that you already knew without laying too much groundwork for this is what the Matrix is, so essentially in this movie, Keanu Reeves' character, who is Thomas Anderson, that's his Matrix name. Also, he changes his name to Neo, but that's his hacker name is Neo. At the end of the last movie, the machines take him back over. So he didn't free everyone like he thought he did. And they put him in a program where he thinks he created games called The Matrix, which was the last movie. So they basically used his memories to say, no, what you think you did, you didn't do. You're just a computer programmer, and this is what you've been doing this whole time. That's how this movie set it up. So he's like, I know what the Matrix is. I know what all this is. Why do I know all this? And they're like, oh, you just made video games.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of clever. But again, vague.
Well,
so vague.
That's the thing. Like they set it up cool. Like I thought, okay, he's a video game creator who and that's what I thought the original, based off how it started. I thought that's how the original movies were. Like I thought he was just a game creator then and got like kind of was able to go into his game and kind of like a Ready Player One type movie. So
there were never games.
Either way, it set it up like, okay, this could be kind of cool. He's creating or you think he's creating video games and he's got to like go back in and like save everybody or he's trapped or whatever inside of it, whatever. So I was like, okay, this could be kind of cool. And then it just got slow. It just drudged on. The scene, there's so much dialogue and just talking in it.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of, and every time it'd start to build up some tension in an action scene, it would be quickly diffused by 10 minutes of just boring discussions.
Yeah.
Pointless. Like that. Pointless. So in the original, you had Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving played a character named Mr. Smith, who was pretty much virus protection for the Matrix. So it was a computer program that the robots set up. They look like people. Obviously, everyone looks like people, but they were there to shut down the hackers. So in the world of the Matrix, if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life. Because
Okay.
when you go into the Matrix and they plug that thing into the back of your head, if you die in the Matrix, that kills your human body. That's why anytime he got punched, you saw him laying in the chair and their bodies would just start freaking out.
Okay.
Because it affects them physically. Outside of the fact that that's kind of wonky in this movie, because there were scenes where like the main girl, Bugs, literally like jumped off a roof and rode that sign to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like she was completely fine and unharmed. You'd think that would have, that's beside the point. Mr. Smith was sent to kill Neo in the original movies. So Hugo Weaving in the other 3 movies is just trying to kill Keanu Reeves the entire time.
Okay.
They replaced Hugo Weaving in this movie with a different guy playing the same character, but a different face, you know, under the assumption that Neo's the one that changed his look. You know, Neo created this new version of Mr. Smith. Same thing with Morpheus. This was a new version of Morpheus, not played by Lawrence Fishburne, because they wrote it off as Neo in his mind designed someone different that wasn't
Okay.
Morpheus. In all actuality, it was just because Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne couldn't come back for this movie because of scheduling conflicts. So that's kind of how they wrote it off in the story. Same character.
That works.
People. Yeah, it didn't bother me outside of the fact that as a fan of the original, why didn't you just create 2 brand new characters? Why did they have to be the same characters? They could have been brand new and not linked to the other movies at all.
Right.
And it worked the exact same way. The whole time I was watching him, all I wanted was Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne the whole time. Not they weren't bad, and it, like you said, it did work. I just wish they would have been brand new characters and not the same characters.
Right. Well, yeah, if he can create new characters in his mind or name, or yeah, if he can change the way the characters look in his mind, or if they can do that, why can't he change the character completely? Like, why would he name them the same? And you know,
Yeah.
So.
Plus, you got a guy that just resembles so much like a young Lawrence Fishburne to a certain extent.
Like a lot. Like at first, I thought they just used the de-aging technology, and it was Lawrence Fishburne until I looked at the cast on IMDb, and I was like, nope.
So those few things were, and the same thing goes for, there was a scene with a guy named the Merovingian, which is, what's his name? Can't find the cast list. Lambert Wilson from Sahara, the French guy. So he was in this. He was in the other 2 movies. He was in the sequels.
Okay.
But his program got like deleted. So they just made it as, oh my goodness. Sorry, everyone. Babies. That whole sequence was irrelevant with the Merovingian in this movie. That they didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Because it comes and it goes and has no bearing on the rest of the movie at all, outside of the Mr. Smith fight scene in the basement. What other elements confused you?
I'm trying to think. I guess like the fight scenes and stuff that they had, like there was always, like when they would punch each other, why was everything like,
oh yeah,
like it, like an atomic bomb went off, and you're just hitting getting the reverbs and stuff.
So overdone. They were trying to add new stuff that none of that was in the original.
Okay.
But outside of, he becomes pretty much a superhero in the other movies. He does.
Yeah.
Because once he learns how to do things in the Matrix, he pretty much becomes unstoppable. Neo does. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's literally a computer program. So when they're laying there in the chair and they plug themselves in the original movie, the guy in the chair, the computer guy. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm going to teach you kung fu. And he literally just downloads a manual of kung fu into Keanu Reeves' brain. And he immediately knows how to do kung fu.
Okay.
Like, that's how it works in this world. She's like, in one of the movies, I don't remember which one, Carrie-Anne Moss's character Trinity, she's like, I need to fly a helicopter. Download the helicopter manual in my brain. So, and then she can literally just fly the helicopter because that's how the world works.
Right.
Which is fine. But they sacrificed good kung fu in this movie, good, decent fight scenes, for just him having like sonic boom powers and just blowing everything up.
Yeah.
And I despised it because that was his go-to thing every fight now. He didn't try to fight anymore. He just sonic boomed. That was it.
And there's just way too much slow motion in it too. On top of that,
that's in all of them. That's in all.
Is it?
Well, there's a sequence in this movie where they talk about creating bullet time.
Yes. Yeah.
This is essentially the slow motion. And this is where the movie gets really self-referential and on the nose to a point that I personally wanted to turn the movie off. Was bullet time was a concept that was created for the original Matrix movie. In the real world, our world.
Okay.
So it's a concept that movies use. So like, okay, well, we're going to use the Matrix bullet time. So that's when he's bending backwards and bullets are just like flying over his body. That's bullet time. And then they make that an element in the movie to be so self-referential that it's just obnoxious. Like there's literally a scene where the one guy says, Warner Brothers told us that we had to do this or they were going to make their own Matrix sequel. Like he says that in the movie. Like Warner Brothers exists in the Matrix world. And I was like, what are we doing? Why?
Well, okay. Why didn't they kill Neo?
Well, Neil
if
Patrick
he's that big,
kind of explains that in this movie, why they kept him and Trinity alive, because he was the one, Neo's the one. So the power that he gives off is more than any normal human.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And their power together was more than any other human. So that's why he literally goes into detail why they pretty much brought him back to life, because he was dead. They were both dead, just to keep them to run the machines, machines.
But the machines in the real world are on their side now, right? Some of them.
That was an interesting element that wasn't in any of the other movies, which I liked, that the machines are aliens. So they're sentient. It's not like Earth machines. They're alien machines. And some of them started to side with the human side of the conflict. I was like, that's a really cool added element. That wasn't in any of the other movies. In the other movies, it was man against machine. And this one, some machines fought with them. So that didn't bother me as much.
I have a question though. So, and I'm probably reading into this too much, but because I have nothing good to say about the film and I don't have any background, I'm just going to go with it. Why, if the machines need the people's energy to survive, then why would they side with the humans to help them fight other machines? You're literally fighting to just kill yourself so you can save the human race.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Again, I guess that could beg the question of how much did the machines actually need to enslave the humans for power, as opposed to they just wanted to. If they didn't need it as much as we think that they do, like to survive, if they didn't need it to survive, they're just this incredibly awful alien race of machines that wants to enslave.
Well, does the original Matrix at all explain that? Like, hey, they've came to Earth to like take over the humans because they need this for survival?
Not that I remember. They may, but I don't remember. I would agree with you. This movie's really convoluted, and
I feel like the whole.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like the whole movie too. On top of that, like you said, it's convoluted, but it was almost just all based around the fact to get Neo and Trinity back together, because that's what the whole movie was about, just to get them to.
Yeah. Pointless. ultimately pointless. This movie came and went and didn't do anything for what that original movie did. And I think that's one thing the Wachowskis have always tried to get back. They made that first movie and it was such a hit. Like it was an incredibly huge hit. And they're like, okay, let's do it again. They came out with 2 and 3 in the same year. It was like
Yeah, I saw that.
2009. Both those movies came out. They're just like, yes, here you go. Here you go. And everyone's like, it's okay, but it isn't giving us what that first one gave us. Yeah,
Right.
it's okay. And even this one, I think is worse than those two in as much as it doesn't add anything to the lore outside of Carrie-Anne Moss's Trinity is now kind of the one as well. In the other one, it was just Keanu Reeves. Like she was his love interest and it was prophesied that way, but she didn't have the powers that he had ever.
Right.
But now she seems almost more powerful than him.
Yeah, they almost made her like a who's the girl from Terminator?
It's Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor. That's
Yeah.
like when I was watching it, I was like, she just seems like she's just a Sarah Connor.
It begged the question in my mind, can anybody become the one in this world? Can anybody, if they open their mind wide enough, just become the one and do what they do? Or is it just the two of them now? Because originally I thought it was just him, but now we're saying it's her as well.
They almost with our culture and stuff today, they almost had to. Everyone's trying to find that female lead and stuff. So
true.
I think that's what it was, more just a push to instead of creating a whole new set of movies with a female lead, let's just make two people have the same power. So
which sucks because Jessica Henwick did a great job in this movie and she stole the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Her role. And even what Carrie-Anne Moss did was good. Her character wasn't bad. It's just the story I had a problem with. You know what I mean? She's a great actress in this role, Trinity. You know, she made that role as much as Keanu made Neo.
Yeah.
You know what? Again, too, and this is just me nitpicking. I don't know how much this is just a review of this movie or if we're just straight up bashing this movie. But they're just trying to capitalize on his John Wick appeal.
Yeah.
Hardcore capitalize on John Wick. Because he's popular, you're bringing everybody back.
Yeah. I agree.
What did you think of Jada Pinkett Smith's old person prosthetics?
I mean, honestly, I didn't really pay attention to him that much, but yeah.
Because she's in the original one. She's
okay.
in, maybe she's not in the first one. I think she's in the second and third ones. But so at one point they said it's been 60 years that Neo's been trapped in the Matrix. He looks the same. Oh, well, in a slightly older version of himself. So they had to make her look crazy older. Her face didn't move.
No, it was stiff,
it looked
like
like
Botox.
a Star Wars character. That's what I told Vera when we were watching. I was like, it looks like a character from Star Wars. Like, what are those creatures called in episode 3?
The Geonosians?
No, episode 3 when was it episode 3? Yeah, towards the beginning. Obi-Wan goes to that planet to find Grievous. And they're super tall. And their faces look like plastic or putty. And that's when he rides the lizard thing and Grievous.
That's Geonosia. Those are Geonosians.
Is it?
Yeah.
But what are they?
They're Geonosians.
Well, I'm just baffled. I'm baffled.
Yeah. That's what they are.
Anyway, she looked fake. She looked like a fake person. That's what I'm trying to say.
I didn't realize it was Jada Pinkett Smith until I looked it up on IMDb.
Exactly. My point exactly. That's so fun.
I don't know. I enjoyed Neil Patrick Harris. There were some of the conversations him and Neo had. I actually enjoyed the conversation between them. Neil Patrick Harris can it's hard to take him serious, but when he is serious, you can he's very good at it.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to take him. I have a hard time removing him from How I Met Your Mother and his comic roles.
But there were a few times in the movie where some of the stuff he was saying, where he was like, you humans are only led by your emotions and you take fact or you take truth out of everything and you only do what feel. And I was just like, he's right.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, oh, am I agreeing with the bad guy right now? Because
yeah.
he's right. I think he's fine. He's very charismatic. I like watching him. I'll watch him do anything.
Hmm.
I just like watching him on screen. I think he was fine for the role. I think he could have been a little bit more mm, computer, a little bit less human. They made him too human.
Like robot.
Yeah, a little bit more program and less human.
Yeah,
But for what it was, I think it was good.
yeah, yeah. That I mean, yeah, like I said, his scenes with when he was just talking to Neo were probably my favorite and my favorite part of the whole movie. Just
Yeah.
watching their conversations. Uh, but
And then
yeah, all in all, oh, go ahead, go
it
ahead.
would always just cut back to whatever world Jada Pinkett Smith's character was on, where the humans live in the real world, whatever territory they were living in, whatever
Yeah,
hole. And she would just be talking and talking and talking. I'm just like, I don't care about any of this. Or the fight scenes even were like, okay, we're a minute in, we're 2 minutes in. Oh my gosh, this fight scene's been going on for 6 minutes, 7 minutes.
hmm,
Everything drug on much longer than it needed to drag on.
yeah,
This is the longest Matrix movie made to date. Like,
yeah,
it's too long. It's too long.
yeah. And some of the, I don't know, like I didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't care for like a lot of the special effects or the visual effects with it. I thought they were really trashy and just weak. Uh, but they had the opportunity to set some of them, like the scene where he's fighting. Is it Morpheus on the that like little Asian looking like
Yeah. Okay.
floating thing? Like that looked cool, but it was when that scene went on too long.
I
They're
know.
conversing, and then you got 5 minutes of slow motion.
It's a perfect example of what, because if you look back at the original one, it looks 10 times better than this.
Hmm.
And you would think that wouldn't be the case with the way the technology is right now. But it's kind of your classic Jurassic Park syndrome, where that
Yeah,
first movie looks incredible and it still holds up to date. But then you go and watch that first Jurassic World movie, like, this looks like trash.
yeah,
Those dinosaurs don't even look like they're in the same room. You know what I mean? Let alone on the same screen. It's the same kind of thing. It's like you have so much money that you wasted it all. And if you'd have
hmm,
done a little bit more of it practically as opposed to CGI or whatever, it would have better suited the movie.
yeah,
Slow motion you're going to get, that's in all of them. They're kind of, that's kind of their trademark, is the slow motion thing. But yeah, it was just a movie that came and went. Honestly, it cinematography was weak. Like you said, it didn't look very good. Every scene, even the scenes that were good, drug on longer than they needed to drag on for. The
hmm,
characters were probably the most intriguing part of the whole movie. And honestly, it's what brought every Matrix fan back and every new person like you to it. You know what I mean? It's Keanu Reeves, and he's big right now. But there's this movie, if it didn't have three movies before it, one which was groundbreaking, this movie couldn't stand on its own 2 feet at all.
yeah. No, like yeah. All in all, this movie is not a good movie. Even if it was like a standalone film, it's not.
Unfortunately, I wanted to like it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think because they greenlit John Wick 3 and the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure sequel or third movie, whatever it is. Those two came out what before this one, right?
Oh, a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So
2019, early 2020, those things came out.
yeah. So I think the Wachowskis, right?
Wachowski.
Wachowskis.
Yeah.
I think that they just uh they saw that, oh well, Keanu's coming back to make these two movies, so we're gonna go ahead and make another Matrix movie.
And that's a good point. At the same time, it could have been exactly what that scene in this movie said. And it could have literally been Warner Brothers saying, we want to capitalize on this property. We're going to make another Matrix movie, whether you're in or whether you're not.
Yeah.
And so they had to choose everyone from Keanu Reeves to, I think it was just Lana Wachowski in this one. They all had to decide, well, do we want to be involved in this, or do we want to let them go and do whatever they want with it? Do they want to Space Jam 2 this thing? You know what I mean? So
Well, the
they
thing
all
of it-
came back hoping to make the best thing that they could make.
Well, these characters were created by the Wachowskis. So if that's the case, then wouldn't, like, how much ownership does the studio have over the characters when you're actually the one creating them?
I don't know. At
Because
this
it said like they were created by these two.
Yeah.
And
At this point, I don't know. I would probably say that Warner Brothers probably owns more than we might think and
Yeah.
has more say in it. But, and Warner Brothers is, God bless them, they ruin everything they touch.
yeah,
they
they
just
do.
do. The fact that DC products are all owned by them is just proof in the pudding that, like, their oversight is so intense that they couldn't let a good movie even slip through the cracks, unfortunately. Because they'd have to touch it and they'd have to mess with it and they'd have to say, well, this is what we think fans want. And it's not, it's opposite. It's the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
A bunch of millionaires sitting in a room. And those are
Pretty
the
much that's what it is. Yeah.
deciding what we want to watch. And we're like, I wanted to like this movie. I really did.
I was indifferent. I
But again, I'm a huge fan of the original one. I think you would like the original one if you watched the first one.
Well, see, that's the problem. Now that I've watched this one, it's kind of put a damper on me wanting to go back and watch the original. I will eventually.
Or maybe we could put a pin in it and 20 episodes from now, you'll be like, hey, guess what I watched?
Yeah. I will eventually watch it. I was going to watch them. I thought like last week about starting them and turning them on because I saw the new ones come out before we decided to do this. And then I decided to go watch a different series of movies. So Harry Potter.
Care for the sequels. I don't care for either one of the sequels.
No.
Either one of them. It was a lot like this. Just, I watched this way easier than I did those other two, but they're tough. And they were at the point where CGI was bad, but everyone wanted to use it. You know, it's your kind of Jurassic Park 3 syndrome where you're like, yes, we could do this all on a computer. And it's like, yeah, but it still kind of looks like trash.
Yeah.
And that's what both of those movies are in 2009. And it's just like, those are rough to get through.
Well, I had to double take. I was like, wait, did they like release one of these and then re-release it like another edited version? Because I was like, 2 movies in the same year? Who does that?
They filmed them back to back and just let them rip.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They were passionate.
Also, it doesn't seem like good marketing. I don't know. Maybe it was for that time and for these movies. Maybe it was a good marketing. Maybe they made more money.
The fan base for Matrix then was huge, you know, huge. But I don't know. What else do you have to say about this movie? The Resurrections. I loved how it's Matrix Resurrections, not Resurrection.
Yeah, because it's resurrecting 2 people, not just one.
But even the last one's called, I believe it's titled Revolutions and not just Revolution.
Like really?
It's plural regardless, I think.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know. Are we in the Matrix? I don't know. Well, I mean, what else I have to say? In the words of J. Jonah Jameson, it's crap.
We don't have anything for the front page, Jonah. All right, give me the crap. No, but if you had to give it like a rating 1 to 5, what would you give it?
I'd give it 1.5.
Ooh. I would give it a 3. I'm very middling on this. I'm very middling. In the worst way, middling.
Yeah.
But I thought what Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves and even Jessica Henwick, what they brought to it was enough. That's what entertained me the most. Will I ever watch this movie again? No, I know I won't.
No.
Will I recommend it?
No, I won't.
Probably not.
Because it's not a good movie. I can't like.
Oh, it isn't, and it's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. If I'm gonna watch a 2.5 hour long movie, guess what? I'm gonna go watch the new Spider-Man.
Which was a breeze of a movie.
Yeah.
Like 2.5 hours flew by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Avengers Endgame, which was 30 minutes longer, went faster than this movie went.
I'm pretty sure Lord of the Rings, the extended versions go by faster, and those are like 4 hours a piece.
Yeah, it just goes to show poor story can't sustain a runtime.
Yeah, no.
You just can't. But with that being said, where can they find us? Where can the folks at home find us?
Yes. Well, on this, you can find us on YouTube.
Whoa,
So check us out on YouTube.
that's new.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, you can check our podcast, Popcorn and Coffee, out on Apple Podcasts and Google Play, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Every other week, we drop an episode just reviewing different movies. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in our opinions at all, based off this middling discussion of go listen to our other stuff.
I would say this is a good episode to see our opinion or get a, because we are so different. Like we're kind of different on this one, but we're not. But yeah, I don't know.
To see our opinions, because in the other versions you can only hear our opinions.
Yeah.
But all right, with that being said, that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. See ya.